Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh, my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-hosts and filmmakers, John and Elaine Woolscroft.
And we are live, baby!
We are
Guys, it's
live.
our first live show. I'm so excited.
It is.
We're here at Awesome Zeke's Coffee
Zeke's Coffee.
for episode 71.
And we're going to be talking about zombie movies.
Because we're celebrating Zeke's new awesome fall menu.
That's right.
I'm really pumped. I have been told that we will be caffeinated, which would be so ideal.
Caffeinated, and there'll be pastries and things that come by, I believe.
Oh, my.
So
Can this be every recording?
It should be.
Where we're served caffeine?
It should be.
Now remember, guys, we're live, so no mistooks. No cough.
Well,
I can't.
Brian can't promise that.
Sorry, I hit
Brian's
the mic.
actually
That's-
dying.
yeah.
Speaking of zombies, Brian's actually dying.
I'm dying.
It's all right.
I mean, we're all
Your
dying.
commitment to the show is wonderful, Brian. Thank you for
It seriously is.
for turning into a zombie as part of our show.
That's
no,
right.
we need to go back to we're all dying because we just came to some very dark truths here on our
Aren't
first
we
live
all
episode.
dying slowly?
It's upsetting.
Although I'm
That's some
just-
beautiful nihilism there.
It is.
Thank you for that.
I like
Chest
it.
colds will do that to you.
I guess so.
Yeah, if you're not familiar, I mentioned this last week, but I've got a bit of a chest cold, so
Still
I'll probably be
battling that?
coughing every 5 seconds. If I do, play the Brian coughs and drink game, so that'll be fun.
You should. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Can't say I've done it, but
If you don't
it's
have
on
an
the bucket
alcohol
list.
beverage, you can obviously use some delicious Zeke's coffee.
Cheap plug.
Cheap plug.
Neither of you guys have mentioned the sunglasses yet. I don't really want to be wearing these.
Sometimes we just ignore you to
Oh,
see if
okay.
you stop doing the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's all.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Good.
Pretty
How are you
good,
guys
good.
doing?
Good. So
So we got a big show.
we don't have a news bit this week.
No.
Well,
Do
it's
we?
a 2-hour show.
And I think that this episode needs to stand the test of time.
Okay.
I don't want it to be sullied with some kind of very time-specific, bit or joke.
So what
or
you're saying is no
story.
one died today in the world of Hollywood.
I'm
We
just
don't
saying-
need to hear about how Shia LaBeouf beat up a homeless guy.
I hope
No,
that
Which
didn't
I'm
don't
sure
need to.
happened.
I
in
would
West
think so.
Hollywood.
Shia
might
LaBeouf,
have.
he's turned it around. He's all right now.
He
I
just
think
says,
okay
just
now.
do it. Do it.
Brian, just keep saying do it.
Do it. So, but in lieu of a news bit, we decided to kind of talk about zombies personally to us.
Yeah, what zombies
we're gonna get
mean
deep,
to
guys.
us.
Have we said this is episode 71 yet?
I did. I said it was
yeah, she said
71. I was
71.
on it.
Oh, I don't listen to you people.
I was ready. Yeah. But no, I guess I'll start.
Okay.
When I was younger, I read all the time. Only child.
Yeah.
Only child. And I read all the time, no matter what was going on. And I used to read short stories in the horror genre.
Okay.
And I read a lot of Jane Yolen. I still love Jane Yolen. I got to meet her in May this year, and I word vomited all over her. It was really embarrassing. But she did a lot of zombie stories, and it introduced me, or she did a lot of vampire stories, and it introduced me to the horror genre, through which I then found the zombie genre.
Okay.
So for me, it was reading at first, but then obviously I came into the Night of the Living Dead and, came to understand how zombies play out on film. So
For me, big shock here. It was Romero.
Wow.
I grew up in Erie, PA, which is about 2 hours from Pittsburgh. But being a big Pittsburgh sports fan, and my father had been from Pittsburgh, that was a big deal. That was going to Pittsburgh. And when I found out that not only are these scary movies and movies about zombies, they were made in Pittsburgh, and I was like, oh well, now I have to check
Now
these
you have
out.
to check it out.
Yeah, and then instantly fell in love. With these movies, even Day of the Dead, kind of the redheaded stepchild of the
Oh, come on.
of the group.
That's not the redhead. That was maybe before
So unkind.
Land and Diary.
Those are like the Star Wars prequels. I don't know if we're going there. But, and then there was the Resident Evil video games, which got me even further into the rabbit hole and just started to love everything zombie.
And that's hilarious because I wasn't allowed video games as a kid.
Yeah.
But John and I have been together 11 years now. So he introduced me to the games, when we first started dating. And actually, that music of Resident Evil, I get like very nostalgic when I hear that because it was like when we first started dating and you introduced me to the world that is Resident Evil.
Nice. For me, I was actually more into vampires than zombies.
Oh, were you the vampire kid?
I was the vampire kid.
Yes.
So I was
Tell
more
me
into
everything.
vampires than zombies. And when we moved to Pennsylvania, I was about 10 years old at the time. And when we moved to Pennsylvania, we lived in Cranberry. So Cranberry Township, PA.
We all know how you feel about Cranberry, bro.
Yeah, down the street from Evans City Cemetery. We literally, the back road we
so
drove all the time.
You were like the real
68.
deal.
Oh, yeah.
The real deal
Yeah,
stuff.
so like you would drive down the road on Route 68, and that was the road in the opener of Night of the Living Dead. So a lot of the people in my high school were, like the teachers, they actually were in Night of the Living Dead or were in some of the Romero films. So like that was my exposure to it. Was like, oh, yeah, you moved to Cranberry, and down the street from it is the town that the Romero films were basically birthed at. So from there I got into zombies, went to the zombie walks, that whole thing. My favorite zombie walk was when I went as a student loan zombie. Recently
The
graduated
scariest
from
one of
RMU.
all.
Yeah, recently graduated from Art Morris, and I was like, well, I've got this cap and gown. I'm never going to do anything with it. So why not be graduate zombie and just tell people that student loans killed me?
If they found out that you came back as a zombie, your student loans would not be forgiven. They would continue.
They would continue. That's right.
Well, your death does not absolve you from them.
No.
You know that, right? Like if I die, you have to pay my loans.
Oh, you're fucked now.
Oh, we're going out together.
That's what I like
and
to
you
call
won't
life
even know it.
insurance policy.
We'll go out together and you won't even know it's happening. Rest comfortably tonight.
That's right.
Well, on that dark note.
On that dark note, so
The shades are coming back.
yeah, Shane's coming back. Lane,
right.
you had some questions. Like here's the thing: we never really prepare for episodes.
We really prepared for this one. We never
really
do this.
did.
Well,
Guys, we do a normal amount of preparation.
Well, yeah, we
We
know the
watch
movies
them. We
that
don't
we're going to
just,
talk
like-
about.
Hey,
I guess we
talk about?
Look, I guess we don't stress about it this much.
No, but like
I guess that's
there
it.
are
We
some
aren't like, get
podcasts
your
out
shit
there.
together.
Here's the thing: there are some podcasts out there that they'll have like a whole sheet of notes,
Yeah, that's cute.
and we just watch the movie and then just kind of like spitball it.
We have an
better that way.
organic take as artists. We can't be hemmed down by writing things on paper, okay?
So-
right. Okay, well, we have some fun questions directly relating to the zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
So I'll ask some of these questions and we'll see, like, we don't have a huge audience, but there are a few people, and we'll see if people agree with us, maybe. So,
Okay.
All right, so first question, zombie apocalypse is upon us, all right?
Okay.
Where do you bunker down?
Grocery store.
Oh, okay, we're just shouting it
Yeah,
out
we're just
then.
shouting.
Okay,
Grocery store.
okay.
You put down those grates. It's full of food. Preferably even like a Walmart or Kmart that has a grocery store in it. You have everything you need in there.
I'm not sure I asked you to elaborate, but okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good one.
I see how it is.
I'm much more interested in Brian's answer.
I would. Excuse me. I would bunker down at Soldiers and Sailors.
Oh, here in town.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
You know
Tell-
why? Because it was built at the time of the Civil War, so that sucker, zombies will not be able to
Built
get
to
into it.
last.
Quick side
It
note,
is
Soldiers and
built to
Sailors
last.
is a place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Soldiers and Sailors Memorial in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Okay?
Which is where Silence of the Lambs was filmed.
That's
in part.
right. So
true.
I also look at it as there are some like antique weapons there, although that would not be my first place to get my weapons to survive the zombie apocalypse. So.
Okay, so
Well,
John,
Brian,
you want your
You better
one-stop
bring your
shop.
food from the grocery store
Yeah.
before you
Well-
get to Soldiers and Sailors.
Well, there's a thing about the grocery store, the food will rot. And on top of that,
not the canned stuff and not
Well-
the Pringles. That'll always be good.
well, of course.
Yeah.
But
All
Cheap
right.
plug for Pringles. What
All
about
right.
you, Elaine?
plug for Pringles.
I don't know. Is liquor store an option? Can I just go to the liquor store? It has like the gates to keep out everybody.
This is a cry for help.
Yeah.
Look, if,
Zombie apocalypse is upon you, and
Look,
you go to the liquor
I'm sorry.
store.
If the dead come back to life, I'm going to be drinking. It's just a thing that's I mean, we went to school in Edinburgh. People drank if there was a blackout. Like, the dead rising from the earth.
That's
like
right.
I'm gonna drink. I don't know. I don't think the liquor store is a terrible choice though.
Yeah,
There's
probably
no
some peanuts
food there.
or something there.
Well, there's no food, but
olives,
oh,
jarred olives.
cherries,
Yeah, maraschino cherries.
stuff that'll never go bad.
All right, Lane, next question.
All right, next question. In the case of the zombie apocalypse, would you rather be alone or in a group?
Group.
You got to go group because,
You'll
You'll go
survive.
crazy. You'll go
Yeah.
full Wilson on that.
Oh, Wilson's my maiden name, and I was like, what the hell?
No,
does
but I
that
mean
mean?
like Wilson from
I was like, what?
the Tom Hanks movie.
I got it.
well,
now.
Wilson was the
I got it now.
volleyball.
Yeah, I know, but
Right,
you'll go
but
crazy.
The
That's what I'm
craziness.
saying.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you think you're better on your own until you're like stuck in an abandoned bus and there's zombies everywhere and you can't get out.
Or you
Bet
start
you wish you had a
talking-
couple buds then.
Or you start talking to your thumbs.
Again, I'm an only child. I feel like I could spend
You've
a
talked
lot
to
of
your
alone
thumbs
time.
before.
No. I feel like I could spend a lot of alone time. I could entertain myself for a while, but if even I need human contact and I would go with a group, I feel like that's just what's happening.
I do a lot of things with my thumbs.
Okay.
Thanks, John. So how long is it before you kill?
Immediately.
You took the words right out of my mouth there.
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
All right.
It's zombie apocalypse. All bets are off. It's
I mean,
that's,
another-
that's how you survive. That's it.
This is
I
a
mean-
live recording, so we can't edit this out. I'm just putting this right out there. I'm killing my mom right away.
Really?
No. This is an agreement.
Because
This
that
is
bitch
an agreement.
will get everyone killed, including me.
She
so
will.
it's a mercy kill for everyone else in the group.
No. John and I have an agreement. So, all right.
Wow. Okay.
All right, so where we left off, John and I were about to kill our moms.
Yes.
And I promise this is a good story because
Yeah.
we have agreed that we will mercy kill both of our mothers.
By
John
the way,
is,
in the edited version, just fell out of my chair.
it's okay, it happens. And there's treats. I'm so excited.
Ooh.
Okay.
Pumpkin drops, okay. There's frosting. That's all I care about.
There are
Thank
treats
you.
here.
Dairy.
Dairy. Yeah, dairy. We're getting some treats here.
Getting treats. So maple spice latte, pumpkin
Thank
drop.
you.
I'm very happy.
So, Elaine, why are we killing our moms?
Okay. So, in your case, you're 100% correct. Your mom, she won't mean to, but she'll get everybody else in the group killed. She's insane. She's the type of person you have to tell her an hour earlier for her to be 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
Really?
There's no way that's working out. My mother, she's not equipped for a zombie apocalypse. I love her so much. She's just not equipped. And so, and I think she might listen to this episode finally. She was like asking about it earlier.
Oops. So what you're saying is we have her lead out in the front, and we say, "Do you see anything?"
Yeah,
and then
we'll
we
make
just
her think
cap
she's being
right in the back.
useful.
No, we can't waste a bullet screwdriver. Is that okay? She's your mother.
A screwdriver?
Yeah, to the back of this call.
No. Quick and painless, please. She's
Oh.
my mother.
It'll be quick.
Here's the thing.
Kathy, I hope you're listening.
I mean, my mom doesn't listen to this podcast, so I've tried to get her to do it. She actually subscribed to it, but I don't think she understands how to activate the podcast. But I wouldn't. My mom drives 10 miles per hour going into Pittsburgh. Okay, in a 45.
Not everybody's mom's equipped for
I
the
would hope.
undead.
I would
okay?
hope she would survive, but I just know like we'd have to be in the same area at the time of the apocalypse, or else she'd be gone.
We'll be right back with reasons we're going to kill our mothers here on the Cinema Slugfest. All right, what's the next question, Elaine? This got really sidetracked.
We did. Okay. No, quick side note. I just like stuffed that pumpkin drop in my face, and like the Zeke's baked goods are so on point. That was so good.
Okay.
Okay. So, what modern convenience would you miss the most?
Internet.
Flashlight.
Yeah.
Flashlight.
John, there's children present.
Flashlight.
Let's pick a nicer one.
Flashlight. Flashlight.
Guys, you guys wouldn't miss showers? I would miss showering so much.
Yeah.
Because, listen.
You
my
know,
hair-
Brian, that's a good point, but Lane, I think I'm gonna have to barely side with you. You know,
I mean, showers are awesome.
we've all been camping for a few days,
And you
you're
just have
like,
that feeling?
I need a shower.
Imagine that. Well, my hair is normally curly.
I mean, you could always just jump in the river.
Listen, my hair is normally curly, and it legitimately
Look, Brian,
will like start to form
You go ahead and
braided
shower in the river.
like, issues. Like, there's,
Listen, if it's zombie apocalypse time, I'm going in the river.
I'm going full Brian, by the way. If
Well, what
the
about
zombie
the bloated
apocalypse comes,
river zombies that are coming out?
River zombies?
Yeah.
do you guys care
Like
about?
a certain type of swamp zombie, or is that what you're talking about?
Do you guys have any questions about me going full Brian in the zombie
You're gonna shave
apocalypse?
your head.
Yes, sir.
Like Alien 3.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna Sigourney Weaver that ish.
Oh, I thought you were gonna give me a boner.
John, children in the room still. This is like going to Target with John, by the way. This is the conversation we have every time. I'm like, children everywhere, and he continues to say the things that he says.
Here's the reason why I would say internet. The ability to have that much information about what's going on, that I would miss.
Well, the emergency,
because you would not be able to make any sort of like decision. Like, imagine how much we use the internet now, and you get that's gone.
Well, the emergency broadcast system would be
that's really going to work.
I don't know. I think my needs would be more basic. Oh, I just thought of this question.
Yeah.
What like random live game do you think you would enjoy the most? Because I've had Squirrel and it's pretty good.
Random
Squirrel,
live
anybody?
game?
Man.
Oh, dark
You would
as
just
always.
like go up to the zombies and be like, hey, yeah, right here, buddy.
You know,
Bite me.
cannibalism would just happen, wouldn't it? How long?
It's in The
I don't
Walking
know how
Dead.
to hunt.
It's in The Walking Dead.
I mean,
but like if you don't know how to hunt, I don't think hunting a human is easier.
No, I'm going to wait till they're dead and then just
it's the most dangerous game.
Wow.
Human.
We're going some really exciting places tonight.
You asked
I really
the
like
question,
it.
Elaine.
All
I
right.
answered.
So,
fine.
do
Well-
you want to know what I would want to eat?
I do.
I would
do,
probably
sort of.
have to hunt deer.
Oh yeah, venison's good.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Wait, I would hunt cows because
Or cows,
you don't
or
have
pigs.
to do much.
Just pass it over
Just
a match.
come over the fence and with a baseball bat.
Oh, I thought you meant to like cook it.
Oh.
No.
It's not
okay.
a wild game, though.
I don't know. Apparently, in John's mind, it is.
All right, so you got any
All
more
right,
questions?
We'll do one more.
Okay.
What like non-perishable good do you think would get old the fastest?
Ramen.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to eat a lot of
come
ramen,
on.
and
If
I wasn't
If you
that
were
sick
in
of it.
college, you got sick of ramen real
I didn't eat it in
fast.
college.
That's a
it's really
mistake.
not that great for you, so I don't eat it that much.
Well, I mean, one, you would get sick of it, and then it would slowly kill you.
I used to keep it in my desk at my last job,
Yeah.
and I called it my lunch of shame. It was if I forgot to like pack or like
It's
bring
true.
money or anything. And I called it the cup of shame because it was like the cup of noodles.
Yeah.
It was like my emergency.
What about you?
I think Chef Boyardee would get real tired real fast because it's canned and it's not real food, so you can eat it over a large period of time. But beefaroni is, and there's no toilet paper when it gives you the shits either.
That's true.
Again, with the children. Thank you.
Oh, they've heard it on the MTV.
I have a controversial opinion on this question.
All right.
Okay.
I think sweets would get old really fast. I think like candy bars and stuff, it would just
Well-
because you'd crash.
I mean,
like
you,
in 28
you would
days
have
later.
to like balance out your sweets with your salty.
There wouldn't be a lot of balance though. I mean, you'd have to get what you can get. You know what I mean?
The salty things would last.
I guess, but I mean,
Doritos,
delicious
balanced
man
with
meat?
Yeah.
how used to cat food and dog food do you think you would get? Because I feel like it
I've
sounds
eaten dog food,
disgusting,
and
but if
it's
you
not
had to do
terrible.
it, I mean, you'd get used to it, right? It's technically food.
Mighty
mean-
Dog is not bad. Milk bones are disgusting.
I don't want to know
How do
how
you
you know
know?
either
You
of those.
eaten them?
I don't want to. Just don't
Weren't
ask
you
him.
9 before? Did you ever
Don't
eat
ask him
dog
things,
food?
Brian. It never ends well.
I never did that. Sorry. I ate human food.
Yikes!
Not a dog.
Yikes. Oh man. So okay, last one for
Okay,
real.
last
For
one.
real. Basement or attic?
Attic.
You got to go attic. In the basement, you're stuck.
We are
Yeah.
completely agreed.
Yeah.
We're completely agreed.
And I mean, we
totally
also
concur.
don't know. Can the zombies climb?
Well, you
'Cause it's debatable.
You pull the attic up and you pull a cord.
Yeah,
they can't reach.
or you just take the stairs out if there's stairs. You just take them out because
Plus, here's
humans
the other thing
can
too.
figure that out.
If I'm up in the attic, that basically can count as a crow's nest, so I can pop off
That's
a
what
couple
I'm saying.
zombies.
That's what I'm saying,
well,
man.
the 1990 Night of the Living Dead remake, that's where they hit at the very end, and he lived. So,
Yep, that's right.
Guys, we're so prepared. I'm
are.
so excited. We can be on a team. This is good news. So, John, you have some history for us, right?
Yeah,
Of, like, the words,
Yeah, Brian has some
origin,
pretty
and-
elaborate history of zombies in movies, but
of the
just as quick,
creature
I feel
themselves.
I feel like I'm doing a book report. This
So
comes
prepared.
from Haitian roots, and in 1819,
Stop talking like that.
the word, in 1819, the Western world was basically kind of introduced to the word zombie.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from kind of a Haitian folklore, the idea of using magic to bring somebody back from the dead. And then the Western world kind of first saw it in writing with H.P. Lovecraft. But I think the first, although a lot of people don't think about it, the first true zombie story was Frankenstein.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, a reanimation of dead body
Yeah.
tissue. So I think, in my opinion, that's the first true zombie story. And then, obviously, so that's just a little, itsy-bitsy little history of zombie and, how it kind of became known over here in the Western world.
Right.
But Brian, why don't you talk about a little movie
Zombies
magic
on
here?
screen.
Well, zombies prior to this is debatable, 66, okay? Prior to 1966, now you notice I didn't say 68.
I heard that.
So prior to 1966, zombies were primarily only associated with island locales, like specifically Haiti and voodoo culture. And it was honestly, the first movie was a movie called White Zombie with Bela Lugosi.
Not the band.
Not the band. No, not the band. But, those movies, and you had like I Walked with a Zombie, that's another one that came out around that time. These were they weren't necessarily dead. They were just lost souls. Like you'd always have a witch doctor or a voodoo priest or something like that.
Bowery
and he
at
would
midnight.
basically turn these people into mindless servants.
Right.
That would do whatever he or she commanded.
Interns, if you will.
Interns, exactly.
Well, that was perfect for the 30s, wasn't it? Coming either being in a depression or coming right out of a depression.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like a mindless servant.
I mean, really, these films were, they were still in the same vein as like the Universal monster movies. That's why they used a lot of the same actors and that sort of thing. But a lot of people who've studied this era of film have said that it speaks a lot to like the colonialism in America and specifically some of our nasty history with slavery,
Right.
And just like one person subjugating a group of people,
Right.
And actually the reason why I said 66 is because there actually is a movie that bridges the gap between this type of zombie and Romero's zombie. And
interesting.
It's a movie called The Plague of the Zombies. Ooh. It's from 1966. It's actually a Hammer film. And in this particular film, so Hammer...
MC Hammer?
No, not MC Hammer.
Oh, okay.
All I thought about was Hammer Pants.
Hammer
I'm sorry.
Studios
I
in
failed
England.
you.
Yes.
Okay, so Plague of the Zombies comes out, and it's one of the first ones to have literal undead zombies. They're still under voodoo control.
Okay.
But you look at them and you can kind of see that this is the type of ghoulish type of creature that you're getting.
Excellent.
So
okay.
And then after
so that brings us then to
1968 with Romero.
Okay.
Brian,
All
you
right.
missed some of the great beach blanket zombie movies of the 1950s.
I Walked with a Zombie,
Yeah.
Teenage Zombie,
We got your drive-in movies, yeah.
Guys, do they know their zombie stuff or what? I mean, they're pulling out titles. I mean, this is intensive education.
I can never remember the full title. The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies, 1964.
Well,
Easy for you to say.
the point is that these zombies were not necessarily flesh-eating ghouls. They were people who had been tricked and their souls were lost. And I mean, anyone could become a zombie, but it was just kind of servitude.
Right. So that brings us to Romero.
Brings us to Romero.
And sadly, we had to say goodbye to Romero this year, so we did do a rather extensive episode on Romero's work.
We were crying.
But of course it has to...
Georgie boy, the pipes are cold. Okay, we're not going to get to
John, you showed a feeling.
Yeah.
So... I mean, but I think we can't have this discussion without Romero
it's not
in
possible.
it. It's not possible. And I think what the best part of the discussion when you turn to Romero is what independent filmmaking can really be and what it can really mean.
Yep.
Because I think in this genre we see that spirit again. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, you have experience with doing the makeup and that sort of thing. But I mean, we go to horror not because it's always the stories we want to tell. I mean, a lot of times it is, but it's a lot easier to do a horror film than it is to do a lot of other kinds of.
Well, the money alone.
Yeah, and they're also more fun. But
it's more fun than money alone. You mentioned makeup. I've done zombie makeup. I think everyone in Pittsburgh has done zombie makeup
or been in
sometime.
it.
Or been in it. Yeah.
John, you've been a zombie on like 4 separate occasions.
Yeah, I die in every film.
How have I missed being in zombie makeup? I feel like I'm missing out on a major.
You were a zombie in my film.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
John and I did a zombie film too, with another friend of ours.
Yeah.
Another Brian.
Right before we started grad school and met you.
Yeah.
Well, Elaine,
memories.
on that note, and kind of going back to what Brian had to say, about just kind of being indentured servitude, Romero flipped the script and kind of made our next door neighbor the enemy. It wasn't something in a castle. It wasn't, something that only comes out in a full moon. It was us that, attacking people.
It also
people.
was completely counter to the type of horror movies you had at the time. Prior to 1968, the big thing was, giant spiders, giant flies, Godzilla, things that were
Cold War fears.
Cold War fears, absolutely. So, you get to 1968 and Romero comes around and he's like, you know what? It's not the giant spider you got to be afraid of. It is your next door neighbor. It is the catastrophe of natural proportions that could happen.
Yeah, hey, this world kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, it's 1968, so...
and then obviously, the casting of the African-American lead, the idea that, there are a group of people that want to stay in the basement, i.e. stay in, in the closet, and I don't mean that in necessarily homosexual,
not
just
in
the
an
idea
euphemism,
of,
but...
and they don't want to change or adapt to a world that's changing around them. I mean, the movie works on so many levels. Now, I will say, I love the movie. It has a bunch of flaws. They made it for about $2 and a cup of coffee. But
well, you guys know what I'm going to say.
The good outweighs the bad.
You know what I'm going to say, though.
What are you going to say?
The only female character is the worst. Barbara is the worst.
Georgie was never really good at that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the most feminist film I've ever watched.
No,
it's
it is not. But at the same time, they're trying to get a character who basically... How do you process that? We talk a lot about, the zombie apocalypse, but how does one process all of that?
But why does it have to be a lady that can't handle it? I'm telling you, I'm going to go full, shaved head, butt kicker in the zombie apocalypse. I'm going to adapt quick.
What's your
I'm going to be ready.
No, but I mean,
and apparently shoot
we're also
parents.
We're also different than the people in 1968. For them, they had never been exposed to anything like this before. So, we've been growing up with media that has kind of prepared us for the zombie apocalypse, more or less.
Right.
So it's not really going to be too much of a shock for us. We'll just be like, oh, I watched Walking Dead last week, so I know what to do.
That's true. I mean, we just had a discussion on what we would do.
I read Max Brooks, and I know what to do. So, we might not be nearly as shocked as, say, someone else is. Now, Barbara's character, you could say it's not the most feminist portrayal, and it isn't. But then you look at the Tom Savini film.
It's not even a portrayal of a human being.
No, but I was watching the Tom Savini version, and that goes way over the top to the point where I'm just like, why did you turn her into an Ellen Ripley character that doesn't really fit? It didn't
Brian,
fit.
How do you feel about Tom Savini?
We don't need to talk about that.
No,
okay.
John, why do you bait him? Oh, my God.
I'm not going to that.
It's so damn fun.
I'm not going to that.
I'm going to put you two in separate rooms and do the show myself.
No.
Now, do we want to jump right into Dawn of the Dead, or do we want to talk about some of the movies that came out
no.
post-Romero?
No, we got time.
We're having a slugfest.
Oh, well,
We're
yeah.
having a slugfest, y'all. So, familiar with Cinema Slugfest? For those that aren't, it's going to be a quick little fight, and it's going to be Brian versus John. Oh, the sunglasses are back on for those of you who can't see. So, yes, Brian versus John. So, we'll do informal since we have a lot of time.
Yeah.
If you guys go too long, I'll shut you up.
Okay.
But I'm going to mediate, and then who wants to go first?
You can go first.
All right.
Oh,
And this is important to know. John is representing Night of the Living Dead.
right. John is defending Night of the Living
and
Dead.
I am defending Dawn of the Dead.
And the topic
remake.
is the superior movie.
Yes.
So, all right, John. Well, you clearly look the part, so take her away.
Dawn of the Dead was almost a parody in and of itself. It became a cartoon, completely over the top, and showed that diminishing returns is a real thing. Night of the Living Dead kind of set the ground for horror movies as we know it. It had a lot to say. It had extreme impact that still resonates today. It set the bar for everything that we know and love about horror films and independent filmmaking. And quite frankly, without my film, Dawn of the Dead doesn't even exist.
Okay, so
You're going to drop the mic right there?
John's opening argument.
Okay.
Hey, I'm the one that decides, so
Okay.
don't worry about
All
it.
right. You ready?
Yep.
I'm ready.
Okay. So, while Night of the Living Dead is a benchmark in horror history, I would say that it is a undistilled version of what Dawn provides. Dawn of the Dead takes the ideas from Night of the Living Dead and expands upon it to a more global scale. Case in point, it deals with human drama. What do you do when society goes to hell? What's the long-term goal? Night of the Living Dead only gives us one night, and in one night we see everything go to hell. But what do you do after that? How do you sustain your humanity? And it asks questions of, you lock yourself into a prison like the mall, and you then end up defending that prison as your own Eden, okay? And you see that with people like Flyboy, who loses his mind at the end of the film and basically, starts the fight with the bikers. You also have that happen with Roger, who goes crazy over the course of the movie. So it asks the question, what is our prison? What is our Eden? And how do we defend it? And do we lose our minds to the apocalypse? What is better?
Okay.
Do we stay alive or not?
Cutting you there.
Okay.
You want to talk about drama, and you want to talk about the importance of what they're talking about. The 70s were very much a frivolous era and, one of consumption. But that is not as important as what they're talking about in 1968 when they're talking about Bull Connor putting his hoses on people, people not being able to vote, women not having their place, African Americans not having their place. If you want to talk about, having some kind of contextual issue, Night of the Living Dead immediately takes that because it has a lot more to say because it's of a more important era and being more important towards the change that they were looking at for that era. Consumerism, being vapid, being shallow, that's easy. That's technically any era. I know the 70s were pretty bad, but he had a lot more to say in 1968 than he did in the 70s.
Okay.
All right,
I got a rebuttal.
You got one.
Okay.
And then you each get closing remarks. Oh,
All
and
right.
there's more food. Oh my
Okay.
God, I'm so excited. We have. All right, so we have a
Okay.
pumpkin spice.
We got drinks coming.
I'm here for it.
This is just giving Brian more time to think. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
She just said pumpkin snickerdoodle,
Okay.
y'all. Oh, I need that
So-
one. Oh.
Once again, thank you to Zeke.
So,
Yes, thank you, Kelly.
all right. To start, if you ask anyone who worked on Night of the Living Dead, they will tell you that they did not inject any sort of political motive into the film at the start. That is what people have created upon watching it. Okay? Now, Dawn of the Dead, while it does deal with consumerism, okay, also deals, again, with what is the main goal of surviving? How do you deal with the crushing isolation of the prison that you have created? And do people end up defending that prison? That is a much bigger question to ask. And you see that in shows like The Walking Dead. You see that in any type of post-apocalyptic film is it better to survive or not? Okay.
All right, sorry, my mouth is full of cookie. Final closing argument from you, John.
Technically being a sequel, I do think you tend to see that films can eventually look in the mirror and not see what they like in response. And I think that Dawn of the Dead became, as I mentioned earlier, kind of a cartoon. You look at the over-the-top blood and the cartoonish deaths, and I think that the seriousness and the importance that they were trying to put out there in 1968 when Night of the Living Dead almost became a farcical, over-the-top lampooning of itself. And I think that alone disqualifies it because of the importance of the original.
All right, and Brian, closing remark.
You're wrong.
Wow.
Your movie doesn't exist without mine.
Okay, so I'm calling this a draw because neither of you discussed the film itself, only the theories behind it, and both of you spent more time talking about why the other film was inferior rather than why your film was superior.
Damien, who won?
Calling it a draw.
Oh,
Damien, who won?
Okay.
We're polling the audience.
We're polling the audience.
All right.
Okay.
The audience says
Audience says
it's a tie too, but
Anyone else
Very
in the audience?
diplomatic,
Night of the Living
yeah.
Dead, Dawn, who says? No.
no, guys,
Okay.
nobody won. You both sucked. No, I'm just
Well, okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I thought that was good.
Just kidding.
In all-
No, it was
listen,
good discussion, but neither of you discussed the movies in hand.
In all reality, this is literally the Sophie's choice of zombie.
Yeah, I really hated saying
Okay.
some of those things. I just wanted to win.
All right, guys. So So we have a good foothold, I think, of discussing Romero without overdoing it, since we do have another show about that already. So now you talked a little bit about some of the movies that you've done, Brian, with that. And I just think it's a very interesting genre for independent filmmaking, because it is more doable than you would think.
It is. The thing is it's cheap to make. For the most part, I've made zombie movies, and honestly, as long as you have a rudimentary idea of anatomy, which that's, I think, the make or break of a zombie makeup. No, but like if you know where the cheekbone's at and where the jawbone's at.
Right, of course.
If you do that, then you can kind of make a zombie makeup. I started off using, tissue paper and liquid latex.
Oh, I was going to say cotton balls. Yep, the old cotton ball latex trick.
And in one makeup in particular, I actually used vampire fangs, like the rubber ones, and I cut them apart and glued them into the cotton balls to make it look like they were actually exposed teeth.
Nice.
But the point is just, I would tell any indie filmmaker, make a horror film from the start.
And make a great story,
Oh, yeah. Well, we've talked about that before.
Definitely. Okay, so now we're in a post-Romero era.
Yes.
And we have now...
Oh, Brian, you went, earlier. We just completely ignored Day of the Dead.
I'm not. Well, no, that's 80s. I'm talking.
Right. Are we getting there?
Yeah,
Are
we're
we
getting there. So after Dawn of the Dead comes out, okay, which did really well, okay, you had a movement in Europe where there now suddenly was the idea of, we can go and make zombie movies too, and these films in particular were completely devoid of any political leanings at all.
Oh, those wacky Italians.
Well, it was Italians. It was Spanish filmmakers. In particular, you had one of my favorites, Zombie 2. By
Brian,
such an interesting
title. Can you explain
title.
why it's called Zombie 2?
So here's the idea behind it.
Is it like Troll 2?
No. It's even better. So you have Dawn of the Dead comes out. And a lot of people don't know that when Dawn of the Dead came out, Romero was friends with Dario Argento. Okay, and Argento took...
He did some music for Dawn of the
Dead. He did. So he took Dawn of the Dead and marketed it as Zombie. Okay? So in Italy, when you're watching Dawn of the Dead, you're not seeing Dawn of the Dead, you're seeing Zombie. And, Lucio Fulci comes around, and he's like, hey, what would be a cool idea? If I completely rip off of Zombie and make a movie called Zombie 2, because people will think it is the sequel. It has nothing to do with it at all.
So it's exactly like Troll 2 is what you're saying.
It is, but it's better because Fulci does a half-decent job.
Okay, so it's an okay movie.
It's an okay movie.
Lane, it's like Street Fighter 2. Because no one, and you're lying if you say you has ever played Street Fighter.
That's true.
Fair enough.
It's true.
Fair enough. All right, that's fair.
Fulci's zombies, they again return to an island locale. But these zombies were gory as all hell. Like exposed skulls. Like, you have a scene where a woman gets impaled in her eye.
Do we still have kids in the coffee shop?
I said impaled through the eye. Okay, I didn't drop any.
That's still frightening, though.
But
there was an optical stabbing.
Yeah, but these zombies again were mostly just for the shock value, and that's the type of zombies you get from Spain, Italy,
and the Italian.
Well, I think that's kind of sometimes the problem with that type of movie too. It does become a bit more about the gore and not about telling a good story. I think
the other
that's
thing
the pitfall,
too is this is at the same time as the exploitation films that are coming out, so they're trying to kind of follow that vein. But you have movies like that. You have movies like The Blind Dead, which is a Spanish film.
Right.
That doesn't sound so bad. They can't see anything.
No, but it's
more
not
humane
quite
for
like
them.
That. Yeah, but Fulci comes out with Zombie 2. He also comes out with another movie called City of the Living Dead.
Right.
In the early '80s, Lamberto Bava comes out with a movie called Demons. You guys ever heard Demons?
Vaguely.
I think I've heard of it.
I know nothing of it.
I sure don't know anything about it.
Crazy movie. It all takes place in a movie theater.
Oh, wow. That's the
And
only
people slowly
set?
start. Yeah, that's the set. It's a movie theater, and people start getting infected and turn to zombies.
Why can't they just leave?
That was my first question.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I think you can't leave the theater.
These damn trailers. I just want to see the new Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
People are being eaten. I don't care.
So, late 70s, early 80s, you start getting these goofy zombie movies. And this is also
Like the one we watched on the show?
That's right.
With Joe Piscopo?
Oh, the zombie cop movie.
That's late 80s.
Good times. Good times,
But
guys.
this is also the same time that you're getting classics like The Evil Dead,
yeah,
which
that's
is a
good
zombie
point.
movie. Okay? A lot of people are like, well, no,
Technically
it's
speaking.
possessed. No, it's a zombie. Okay? And you
Well,
also get...
That's like saying They Live is a zombie movie. It's not technically.
Isn't
No,
it?
not really.
It's extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But you get movies like that. You also have movies like one of my favorites, Dead Alive, also known as Brain Dead.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of his first films. He did Bad Taste, and he did Dead
He
Alive.
did some of the weirdest things before
I
he
love
did
it.
Lord of the Rings. I mean, he
Love
has
it.
a dark mind of his own. He really does.
Love Dead Alive.
Yeah, it's true. But so now we're fully moving towards
In the 80s.
the
And-
90s now.
Well, we're missing a couple here because one of the films that
Cool
I
your
think
jets, Wilson.
one of the films that I think is almost as ephemeral as, say, Night of the Living Dead is the John Russo film Return
Friend of the show.
Living Dead. Okay?
Friend of the show, John
Friend of the
Russo?
show?
Really?
Well,
really?
He's our friend.
I mean, sort of.
He's not been on the show, but
I
he's
don't
a
think he
friend
knows
the
any
show.
of our names. Does
No,
that count
but
still as a friend?
Return
probably
of
knows
Living
Brian's.
Dead. Return of Living Dead comes out in 1984 and directed by Dan O'Bannon. And I'd say it's as influential as Night of the Living Dead is because it introduces the idea of zombies eating brains, okay, and needing brains to survive. And these zombies
Is
don't
that
follow.
enough to make it as influential as Night of the
Yeah,
Living Dead?
because
It makes
okay,
it darn influential. I'll
it makes
give
it
you that.
extremely influential. I mean, I think you talk to people who are into zombies, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll eat your brains." And it's like, "Well, where'd you get that from?" Return of the Living Dead. Okay, so this film is ridiculously goofy. It takes everything that the Italians did and basically amps it up. You've got the Tarman zombie. You've got Linnea Quigley is a naked zombie. I mean, it's just all sorts of goofy stuff. And the zombies in this movie, they don't die by getting shot in the head. You have to dismember them, and you have to burn them. Even when you dismember them, their bodies are
So
parts
much
are moving
work.
around. It is a lot of work.
It'd be terrible.
But a lot of people don't understand. That's kind of a comedy horror.
Yeah. And we
It's
see that
funny.
later on.
Yeah.
I definitely want to talk about that later on.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. So after that, you get movies like, Dead Heat, Joe Piscopo.
if you guys haven't checked it out, Dead Heat is so funny. I mean, there's bad movies that I'm like, no, don't, guys, don't. But this one, you won't be sorry. It is absolute gold.
When I think zombies, I think Joe Piscopo.
Who doesn't?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's just a slam dunk, right?
Who doesn't
I think you're
that?
lying.
It's like, I
Who
want to make a
doesn't
zombie
think
movie. Yeah, John Travolta. Oh, okay. That's a little odd.
I mean, honestly, I look at that Joe Piscopo movie, Dead Heat, as kind of like the last gasp of zombies in the late 80s, going into the
Yeah.
90s,
Well-
because they weren't really popular in the 90s.
Oh no, they weren't dormant. I would say
Yeah.
for a while.
The 90s, if anything, into the 2000s were kind of a reflective of what had become before. You get remakes of films, you get lampooning of films and the genre in general. So it's kind of like the zombie film, to say something I've already said before, but putting a mirror up to itself. And it's kind of taking a look back on itself for farcical reasons, but also reflective reasons. When you get the 1990 Night of the Living Dead remake, directed by Brian's best friend Tom Savini.
why do you have to keep
why you gotta do
baiting
that?
him? Keeping on the baiting?
Why you got to do that?
Well, yeah. So then we have kind of like an era where there isn't a lot of this entertainment out there, and then I would say we see it trickling through then in the early 2000s. Is that fair?
Yeah. I would
Can we,
say
Can we just pause for a second
Yeah.
and talk about the Night of the Living Dead remake? I feel that's
Oh, yeah.
kind
Sure.
of a landmark
Yeah.
thing because, Dawn of the Dead, I think now has been remade 37 times, all
Right.
bad, including that schmuck Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake.
I
do
actually
not
like that remake.
Oh, that should be a slugfest.
We have a house rule
No.
against Zack Snyder where we don't watch his movies in the house.
but
not allowed.
For some reason, I really like the Night of the Living Dead remake, even though it's a really bad movie.
I don't like it. Here's the thing. I thought I liked it until I watched it again this week.
Oh, yeah.
no.
Yeah, I watched it
realized
recently.
how much I didn't like it.
Oh, no.
You had like an awakening.
This acting, though.
That's terrible. I haven't seen it in a long time. What if I don't like it anymore either? How recently have you seen it?
Oh,
Tuesday.
Yeah, fairly recently here.
You still like it? But ironically.
Somewhat, yeah, because the acting is so over the top.
Right.
It's oddly faithful, but just enough different from the original. It's not like the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho.
It feels like the shot-for-shot remake to Psycho for me. Yeah.
No,
Well,
don't
it took
say
out
that.
all the thoughtfulness and just put in some bunch of action.
Listen, if I want to watch Night of the Living Dead, I'm going to watch the original. And honestly, after watching the remake, it just solidified that. Because it feels like you're watching a knockoff. Okay? I like Tony Todd. Don't get me wrong. But it just feels forced. You know what I mean? And then you realize that they made that film primarily as a way to try to retain the copyrights from the original film.
Right. Well,
Like, that was the impetus for that film.
Well, something that's very interesting about Night of the Living Dead is that it's public domain.
Yeah.
So if you were to make your own film, you could have your characters like watching it on TV, and you wouldn't be breaking any copyright laws. Where usually that's a big no-no. You can't have that sort of thing in your own film.
Well,
I mean,
you could
hell,
start-
you could just have a showing of it, and
you could
no
start
one
the film
could
with somebody
sue you.
waving, and then Night of the Living Dead, and then them waving again. It's like, this is my movie.
It's true. I
Seriously,
mean,
you
as
could
far
do
as
that, though.
copyright
Yeah.
law is concerned, I mean, it's not infringement
Well-
because it's in the public domain.
I was actually reading an article this week trying to bone up for the episode, and the article was about how some people believe that if Night of the Living Dead was not public domain, would zombies be nearly as popular as it are?
Oh, that's fascinating.
Because if you think about it, every midnight movie show that was on from 1968 all the way up until currently, what do they play all
right.
the time?
Like I said, because they can. They don't have
Because
to pay
they
anything
can.
for it.
Here in Pittsburgh, Kennywood just plays it against a wall during their Fright Nights on
Yeah.
a projector.
They are allowed to do that.
because they can.
Yeah, exactly.
But the idea is, if that movie was not public domain, would it be exposed to nearly as many people as it is?
Well, it's kind of like It's a Wonderful Life, right? Like
Yeah.
that movie was panned when it came out, and they just stuck it on cable one year, and then people started really responding to it.
That
and now
went
it's
into
a classic.
public domain.
Oh,
You can
is that
use
why it was in
Yeah,
public
and the
domain?
TV networks started playing it every Christmas because they didn't have to pay anything to do it.
Ah.
And then it became this humongous hit.
So again,
Wait,
I mean,
guys,
maybe
I
that's
got
the
it.
thing.
I'm pitching something right now. George Bailey, Zombie.
Yes,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a horrible
in.
life.
I'm completely in. I'm completely in.
Come here, Mary. Bring the kids. I'm hungry.
Bring the kids. I'm hungry.
Potter?
That might be the most horrible thing you've ever said. Oh, we have more treats. I'm so excited.
Is that marshmallow there? What is that?
It is.
Mexican hot chocolate.
All right, Mexican hot chocolate, courtesy of Zeke's.
Oh, that's good.
They spoil us rotten here.
Oh man, that's
Our
really
podcast
good.
listeners are going to be like, why are they taking a drink every 5 seconds?
You know,
Because
once
we're
again,
at Zeke's and they
just-
are sharing their fall menu,
Yeah.
and I am so excited because it's actually spicy.
It
Sometimes
is.
Mexican hot chocolate
Yeah.
isn't spicy, and it's perfect. It's perfectly
I
spicy.
think it's also worth mentioning that during this period of time when zombie movies weren't really made, you had movies that kind of were competing for the same horror channel too. You had
That's true.
the revival in Victorian era horror with Dracula and Frankenstein and Mary Riley and all those types of movies, and then you get the slasher revival again with
Right.
Scream, my favorite not really film.
There's never a day that I don't want to watch that movie. It just cracks me up.
Yeah, there's a day I don't want to watch a movie. It's called Every Day.
All right. Well, okay. So we finally to the 2000s
Yeah.
now. Can we finally talk about 28 Days Later?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Which is very controversial because some people don't consider that a zombie.
right,
Well,
right.
shall
and
we have this discussion?
Well, we have a big discussion to have. So 28 Days Later, what's his name? The director of Slumdog Millionaire.
Boyle.
Danny
Boyle. Danny Boyle. That's it. So Danny Boyle's first film, right? His very first film, right?
No.
Okay.
No,
An
I would say
early.
it's his first
Certainly
commercial
An
film.
Yeah.
early Danny Boyle.
First
The
commercial
big
film.
thing about 28 Days Later is that it was shot on mini TV. So when you watch it now, especially, it looks digital as heck.
Yeah, it was shot on a Canon.
There's nothing HD about it. There's nothing glossy about it. It looks very gritty, and I think it's interesting because it almost looks. It doesn't look like a snuff film in the sense of the content, but it has that immediacy, and it looks dirty.
Well, and it was clearly an aesthetic choice because they had the money to rope off streets, You know,
Oh yeah, they had some production value behind it.
So
but maybe that's what they put all their money in.
mini DV,
well, maybe they
like
did because
we
they
did.
put all their money in blocking off the streets. But it's an outbreak film, and fans of The Walking Dead will be familiar with kind of the premise. It stars Cillian Murphy, and he's really. It's funny because obviously it was in the time it was, but he looked so young when I saw it this week. But he wakes up in a hospital bed.
Yeah, and it starts off with him bare ass naked. So
you again with the words out of your face.
And you see his junk, and it's nowhere near as good as Magneto's.
John.
What?
Kids still on the premises.
Oh.
Do I have to punch you to remind you? I know if you can't see them, that still means they're there. We talked about object permanence, honey.
Hi.
So anyway, but yeah, I mean, he wakes up in a hospital bed, and the world has changed basically, and he goes on and he finds other survivors, and has a little bit of a journey then towards the end of the film, against these. I guess these other people that have been infected with the rage virus.
Yeah.
But the difference too, and this is also part of the controversy, especially if you want to call it a zombie film, is the zombies are fast. They can move really quickly, and we're used to seeing the shambling undead that can't move very quickly.
And then Zack Snyder said, "I'm going to copy that because I'm a hack."
Right.
Well,
but I mean, I don't expect anything else.
Here's the thing. I used to be someone who would say, well, that is not a zombie movie. But then I realized that at the time that this came out, you're dealing with, what was this, 2003?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is post 9/11. Okay?
Okay.
The whole world has changed.
But I mean, this was over in Britain, though.
Right, but
I'm not sure we can frame it like that.
I think
because
you
it's not
have
American.
to. I think you have to because he knows who his audience is.
Okay.
Okay, he's applying it to a Hollywood audience, that sort of thing.
Fair enough.
So it's coming out at a time when people are realizing the whole world has changed, and that they now have to worry about things like biological agents. Okay. And that ends up being the boogeyman instead of just the undead, so to speak.
Kind of like when anthrax. But
that's what I mean is
that was so terrifying at that time, though, because we just didn't have a lot of information, and the idea that someone could just,
right.
That was very, very terrifying.
But that's what I'm saying is I view that now as a zombie movie strictly in the sense that it's still using the same tropes that you see in the Romero films. Instead of it being just the undead come back, it's now something more grounded in reality where, okay, it's a biological agent of some kind that, gets in to human beings and turns them into zombies that way.
Right. I personally think that 28 Days Later is more of a humanity film.
Zombie movies all humanity films?
This one in particular, I mean, the question really is, they pose it, when they reach characters later in the film, but they say like just men killing men, and I think that that's an interesting way of looking at that film, and I mean I suppose of looking at the genre too, but I really got the humanity theme a lot more from this film than I have from others.
Well, I mean I view it as a zombie film because it's grounded in that human drama. It's grounded in survival, which every zombie movie you look at that's worth its salt, aside from the goofy ones in the 80s, for the most part are all about human survival.
Right.
And that's like the first modern version of zombies dealing with human survival.
It's true.
So...
See, I would say this is just the next evolutionary step in zombie movies. So I think we're actually all in agreement. It would have been more interesting if one of us disagreed, but
maybe,
it is what it is.
Sometimes we do agree. I mean, it happens. But but then I think another really important film to talk about. I'm going to let it out of the bag. This is my favorite zombie movie, and that's Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, so good.
That is my favorite zombie movie.
Why is it your favorite?
So many reasons. I mean, it's so highly quotable, I guess. John and I have been known to have entire conversations in Shaun of the Dead quotes, which I know is really obnoxious and married.
Who put this on?
It happens.
It's on random.
It's on random.
It's on random.
So many good ones. Let's just head to the Manchester and wait for this all to blow over. Winchester. Did what I say?
You said Manchester.
Oh my God, I totally did.
Hey, that's in England.
I think because it took an already great genre and made me laugh.
Yeah.
There are times this movie is gut-splittingly funny at times, and I think it's still got the
and
message
sometimes it has
across.
gut splits.
Right?
Sorry, I had to just
it was a
blow
good
up.
I'm gonna be
pun.
honest with you. I
like a
liked
good
it
pun.
when that David character died.
Oh yeah,
David was the worst.
Oh,
David was the
hated him.
actual worst. And Philip.
Philip.
But yeah.
Sorry, Philip. Boom.
But I was gonna say, I think it got the point across though too, because I think this is another zombie film that talks about conformity and how you really have to be careful to not get caught up in the really tedious aspects of life.
Yeah.
And to really make sure that you're always moving forward and you're always trying to be the best version of yourself, because that's what happens to Sean. He becomes the best version of himself.
And it takes
Through
zombie
these
apocalypse. to
Yeah,
do
I mean,
that.
some people
And-
need a bigger kick than others. It's fine.
The idea too is that you can very easily become a zombie. You don't need a
Right.
virus or something like that. They show that very much of people just walking around in their daily lives like zombies.
And I think some of the visuals really bring that home. There's zombies with pushing around shopping carts.
Yep.
I think it's definitely an attack on capitalism as well, which I'm always down for that.
Well,
so
this is a good movie outside of the comedy. Even without the comedy, it's a
It's
very
true.
well structured film. There's actually a lot of emotion in there.
the writing's really
yeah.
strong all
And
around.
And this is the greatest example of postmodernist, filmmaking, isn't it? It's kind of all these different zombie movies into a big stew, and thankfully it comes out delicious and not like salty. You have a little bit of Evil Dead in there.
You do.
You have the Romero movies, so it's a love letter to the whole franchise. So I think that is.
I
one
will
of the
say
best
the one
trademarks
thing
of it.
that
Or
is a
hallmarks.
bit, it's not necessarily a negative, more or less, because I love Shaun of the Dead. But the one thing I do know is if they were to make that movie nowadays, it wouldn't be zombies, people acting like zombies pushing shopping carts. It would be people on their cell phones. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's fair though, right?
Like, I've seen so many people, and I'm guilty of doing this myself, of walking down the street, looking at my phone, and
How do
zoning
people
out.
do that? I'm always afraid I'll trip.
Well, I'm more afraid of people like walking into the street, because
Yeah.
I've seen that too, of people walking in the street, cell phone in hand, looking on Facebook.
Well, they said that the newspaper was going to kill conversation. They said television was going to kill reading. And I think the cell phone is just the next byproduct of that.
You know what's funny? Like, our generation still loves to read, and we still prefer like hardback, or
Yeah.
not hardback, but
Yeah.
physical books over e-readers. And I think that gives me so much hope for the future that I usually don't have. But
And for our audience who've never seen us, we're all 23 and shredded. What? I heard laughing. What happened? as I eat this delicious Zeke's cake. Oh, God.
Yeah.
God.
So, Shaun of the Dead.
right.
And then we start to get to some of the more modern zombie films, like World War Z, which...
World War Z, could it have been more disappointing?
I almost walked out of the theater at the very end of the movie when Brad Pitt stops what he's doing to crack open like a Pepsi and just like drinks, and he's like, and has this orgasmic look on his face, like, oh, delicious Pepsi.
Did we see that with your mom or mine?
What's that?
Or
Oh
did we
no,
see
we
by
saw that
ourselves?
together. Yeah, just
Did
the
we-
two of us.
well, I knew you were there. I
In
just-
Clarion.
Well, yeah. So then why wasn't my mom there?
Nah, well,
Maybe we didn't want her to know our plan.
Yeah.
Our plan to mercy kill.
I really, it might have come to light. Well,
didn't
there's
see it in
there's also
Clarion.
the 46 Resident Evil movies.
Oh, those are never good.
God.
Never.
Never good,
It's so
yeah.
sad.
The first one's not bad. It's not bad.
Compared to the others,
That's
maybe.
what I'm saying. Like you have to compare that with the other ones. Like it's like the non-moldy Big Mac you get.
But
Compared
Big Macs
to
never mold, Brian. They're full of preservatives.
well, okay, it's true. A bad example, but it's like the piece of garbage food that you look at, and then you've got everything else that actually literally is garbage.
okay. All right.
One thing is edible.
I'm trying to get on board here.
Okay, but
But that-
yeah,
that
Resident
movie's
Evil,
so bad.
It's not as bad. The first one is not as bad.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Romero
It's just,
was supposed to direct that. He had done
Seriously?
He had directed the commercial for the Resident Evil 2 video game because the first one was so huge that they actually hired George Romero to do the commercial.
Can
for
you
the follow-up
imagine that
game.
too? Because I mean, he would have been older at that point as well, and he probably wouldn't have really had a good sense of video games or anything, and would have just been like, okay, so they want me to just direct this video game commercial because of a film I did. I mean, that just had to have been so strange.
Yeah, I mean,
I started in TV. It should be fine. What's a video game?
and
Right?
also-
Like checkers.
Also, around this time, you get into that remake that you love so much of Dawn of the Dead.
My favorite movie.
Which, as I said, I
John's favorite
actually
movie.
don't mind it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Why do you hate it?
Oh, because Zack Snyder doesn't know how human beings talk, act, or move.
Yeah.
And it
You
is
know,
just,
the little things.
it is just riddled with his plastic fabricated world and his horrible lighting and pacing and his
If by lighting you mean
stupid editing
filters.
tricks. And the end of the movie is just like, surprise, jerkweeds, everyone dies because the hell with you.
I will
That
say
was bleak.
Yeah.
That was really bleak.
That was the one thing I hate about that movie is the filters.
I mean, that's what I hate about every Zack Snyder movie,
Right,
though.
but I mean, in that film, he quite literally took the filters in his computer and just said, "Hey, you know what? I think I'm going to boost the highlights.
Haven't used this one
all
yet.
of them. All of the highlights going to get boosted.
What does this one do?
You know what? I'll oversaturate everything because why not?
Sure.
Anybody that has done video editing it's been 3 a.m. and you're like, what if I put every filter on this? I'm just curious.
I mean, we've all done that.
Yeah, we've all done that. And
It's
Zack
that
Snyder,
horrible 4 a.m.
He
mistake.
releases major motion pictures this way.
Usually, you get through that stage in like the first video project you do in undergrad, and your teacher comes back and she's just like, maybe you should pick one.
Yeah. Stick with one. Color
Stick with
correct it
one.
and then stick with a filter. Yeah.
But the one thing I like about it is just that it does take a movie that, some people have complained that it has too much human drama and not enough zombies. And it does add the zombies back.
God forbid.
It does, huh?
God forbid.
Yeah,
It has
God
human
forbid.
drama in it.
But I do kind of like the type of zombies they go with. I'm not a fan of the fast zombies because that just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
In this regard, like in 28 Days Later, it's a little bit different because it is a virus.
Yeah, it
But-
is. It is still controversial, though. I mean, because it's really the first time that was presented, and it doesn't necessarily still make sense.
No, because the body breaks down and you lose the ability to have elastic
Yeah,
muscles.
it's not viruses with these folks.
With
is it?
Snyder.
Yeah, it's Zack Snyder. Brian, I got 2 words for you.
What?
Baby zombie. How do you feel about it?
I'm so invested.
You know what? They just sat around a studio boardroom and they're like, what can we do to shock the hell out of people? Put butts in seats. Zombie
Baby
rape?
zombie?
Nah, can't do it. R rating. Zombie baby? Put it on paper. We don't have a script.
We're making this up as
here's
we
the
go.
thing. My problem is the CGI level on that baby zombie. That is my problem.
So
Would you
it's- so
rather
it's
than
craft
put
and
like
not conceptual.
latex on an infant?
You got to do practical.
On an infant?
No, but like what I mean is you make a puppet. Like I would rather see a baby
a
zombie
puppet instead.
than a
Okay.
CGI baby zombie.
Brian, I had some really, really important questions for you if it was going to be a real baby. Oh, my God.
I'm kind of into this. You know, a stage mom would be like, yeah, you can put that on my baby's
You
face.
would find a mom that would do it.
What if it's allergic? You can still do it. It's fine.
It's fine.
We need a SAG card.
No, but here's the thing. The reason why I don't mind is because I'm a fan of horror movies that don't pull punches. So I like the idea of taking something that is considered innocent and corrupting it.
Right.
Sometimes it's the light you don't
Oh,
turn
why do
on.
you have to do that? Why do you have to do that?
Because it's true.
My favorite.
Yeah.
Well, I want to bring this up with you guys because this is a departure as well. But since we talked about the Resident Evil games, the Last of Us game is one of the best zombie stories I've seen in the modern era.
And if you're not familiar with it, dear,
I'm
my
not.
lovelies, it is a video game.
It's
I know
not
it's
a
a
film.
video game. I haven't played it because I don't have time for gaming.
it's awesome. So we have more treats, but I'll tell
More
you about it
treats.
in a second. Okay,
Caramel
we have
apple.
caramel
Caramel
apple.
apple.
All right. Ooh, yum.
It will change your life.
Looks really.
I believe
smells
it.
Amazing.
It smells good.
Oh, and their little
And they say rest in
tombstones.
peace.
Yay! Oh my God, this is so awesome.
They weren't
we're-
kidding about the treats here.
I really want to do every episode in Zeke's coffee, please. So anyway, Last of Us is Joel, right, John?
Yes.
It's been a while since we played it.
Very good.
Joel and Ellie, through the circumstances of the, impending apocalypse, they've come together, and it's the clickers in this one because they don't straight up call them zombies.
Clickers?
Yeah, they call them clickers because it's an outbreak. Is it bacterial or fungal?
Bacterial. Well, I believe both.
Fungal. Okay.
I am no scientist.
You're right,
so-
and I don't remember the science behind it. So if anyone on the Twitter or comments wants to hate on me, that's totally deserved. But it disfigures them beyond looking human, as well. Like they have, abscesses on the face and on the heads and everything. But they can be quite fast if they hear you, right?
Right.
That was like the whole thing. You couldn't have them hear you. You had to be very sneaky, or you had to like throw a bottle elsewhere to kind of get them away. But the storytelling in that was beautiful. They were looking to, our main characters are looking to catch up with a group called the Fireflies, who supposedly have a cure. And I mean, the game's been out for a while, so I'm going to spoil it. Sorry. But the cure turns out to be this girl. She's like immune to it, and they want to like make the antidote out of her. And you have to choose whether to let them, right? Like let them kill her. I think by the end.
Okay.
I think something like that.
So if you kill her, then you win.
I don't know. I mean, do you?
We all lose, Brian.
There's no winning in that choice.
It's kind of a modern takeoff on I Am Legend. Which
It is, and I mean,
based on the story I'm talking about, not that horrible Will Smith movie.
and the visuals are just
goof,
beautiful.
You ruined another one.
It always strikes me how far gaming has come because the visuals are so gorgeous. You can kind of, I don't know, you can see like, I don't know, the hair on a horseshoe rabbit, like every single little strand of fur. And I mean, and the gameplay was so satisfying because you could play as both characters for a while.
Yeah.
And that I think was a really good example of zombie, like a take on the zombie story, as well, because that was Telltale, not Telltale, the one that did Uncharted. Bad dog, big dog.
Come on, nerds, help us out.
I am not like bringing it today. I apologize.
I got nothing, honestly. Sorry.
What's that? Naughty dog.
Thank you,
to the
sir.
man in the front. Thank you, sir. My words are not my friend today. But yeah, so I think that's another good example, and I think that it's perfect for the video game sort of
You also got like
platform.
movies like Left 4 Dead and
right.
those types of movies. And what's is that the one where you're in the mall?
John.
I think one of them does take place in the mall. Yeah. Oh, they're all over. I mean, once Resident Evil took off, video games are a copycat business. I mean, so are films and everything else. But let's make 10,000 zombie video games.
But I really thought The Last of Us was a good take on that. And there is a sequel coming out, and I'm so ready. I will fully take off like 2 days of work to play it.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, is zombies like pumpkin spice? They're everywhere.
How dare
to
you?
the point of obnoxiousness.
How dare you? I love both of those things.
Honestly,
zombie.
Honestly, I don't
Or
see
zombie
it.
lattes.
I don't see it nearly as much as it was maybe 5 years ago. It's come down a little bit. They're still big, but they're not as big as they were.
I wanted to respond to you, but I'm eating this cookie, and I had nothing because I would just spit it all out.
Well, is this because of, maybe the new big dog on the block, for the last 7 years? Do we say it yet? Do we talk about it yet? The Walking Dead?
Nope. Not yet.
We're not ready yet? Okay.
Not ready yet?
I feel like
no, we're ready. I'm sorry. I thought you asked if we had said it yet.
Oh, no. I meant, are we ready to say it now?
Oh, yeah. And I mean...
And is that maybe why
we are the Cinema Psycho Show, not the TV Psycho Show. But we
Okay.
just talked about video games.
Number
so
one, I
guess
love TV.
All
so
rules are out.
Suck it.
Yeah.
But, I can hear Caitlin laugh over there when I told you to suck it. But yeah, so I think that that's a large part of why it's died down in the past few years because, I mean, they're doing it so well on that show. And they're kind of like, whether you want to like it or not,
I can't
they're
speak
more of
to
a,
it. And
a gold
honestly,
standard,
And honestly, I'm like the least qualified to even talk about The Walking Dead.
Listen, I mean,
Brian, I have to ask this. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay, go ahead.
You love zombies.
Correct.
Almost, like some people love their mothers or cake.
Yes. I equate zombies to cake.
This
Absolutely.
do you
is
love
a
cake?
TV show. How did you so you get zombies every week. How did you not get into this?
I am terrible when it comes to TV shows.
You're a binger, aren't you?
I'm a binger. I don't have
Knew
cable.
it.
So there is
Right.
that. I'm
That's true.
strictly streaming.
I feel like that doesn't stop you from consuming media, though.
It
I'm not
doesn't.
sure how.
It doesn't. But what I like to do, I don't like to wait. I like to be able to binge the show. So this is not just with The Walking Dead. It is with almost every popular TV show. Okay, I got into Dexter after Dexter had finished. I got into
That's
Breaking
right.
Bad
I didn't think
after
about
Breaking
that,
Bad
but
had
you did.
finished. So I mean, it's just kind of that way. Now, Walking Dead, and I'm giving it another chance. I gave it a chance this week. I was not really a fan of it. When I first watched one episode, I was like, I'm not really into it.
Listen, I get it. It's crazy. I mean, if you had told me that the only cute guy in Love Actually was going to become this like grizzled murderer, I'd have been like, what? That doesn't sound like a good show at all.
I mean, I'm not looking at it from that point, but
it's odd.
I'm not really looking at it from that point, Lane. But I mean,
oh, you think he's dreamy?
He is a sexy man.
I'm making you an I Heart Andrew Lincoln shirt.
No, but my issue with Walking Dead, and I'm giving it another shot, okay? I just had an issue with the fact that the ratio of human drama to zombies is kind of off.
Listen, when you can't shower, you get cranky, okay?
Well, the show isn't really a zombie show. It's just a drama that has zombies in it.
And that's my point.
It's the only way to go, because if you just oversaturate it with the zombies, it's just going to be you're going to become numb to it.
I feel like we kind of are, though, because, I mean, the stuff that they get away with on cable TV, where they're pulling people's middle out of their outsides, I mean, or sticking to pavement. I mean, some of the stuff they come up with, I mean, it's brilliant.
But, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Over this week, to kind of prepare for this, I did watch 2 episodes of Walking Dead.
You.
Okay.
First season?
Yeah, first season.
The special effects aren't great in the first season.
They're not bad.
Wait till you watch the last season.
Wait till you get to the last episode.
Wait till you get to the last episode.
They didn't have any money.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is just like I'm trying to give another shot, trying to stick through it, mainly because my wife said, same sort of question that you gave me, John. You know, you love zombies. Why don't you like The Walking Dead? Yeah.
Is it your distaste for humanity?
No.
I don't care for people.
No, that's not it. It's just I like a 50-50 ratio of zombies to human drama.
Well, I think the important thing to remember when you're watching Walking Dead is, you know, the tagline of the show for a lot of years was fight the dead, fear the living. And I think what's really interesting is the show takes us to places where humanity gets really dark.
Okay.
And it explores those aspects of like, it's really, you learn how to fight the walkers, as they're called, but it's really the other people that you need to be worried about, because when people are pushed and when they're desperate, they do things that are very dangerous and that you can't trust them.
I'm calling it. Carol and Jesus died this season.
You called that Carol died last season.
Yeah, but I was wrong, so I'm calling it this season.
I'm glad you recognize that.
I gotta ask, as someone who's just starting to get into Walking Dead right now,
okay,
what do I have to look forward to?
Well, all of the actor,
and I'm not saying that because we still have 45 minutes left.
like we can't talk for 45 minutes. That'll be the day. You have all of Carl's puberty to look forward to.
Oh, God.
Do you know what Carl looks like now? He looks
like a little kid.
He's a baby. Like, he's so little, and he gets to be like a really awkward 15-year-old. It's magical.
Okay.
He's really skinny and like awkward.
Puberty's
it's amazing.
magical. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, it's a really interesting because you get to see him go from being a little kid to growing up way too fast, and it's sad because he doesn't really have a childhood. This is his life now, you know. And I think that's a huge part of the series. Every character that you see now changes drastically because of the environment that they're in. Like, you will not recognize Carol. Carol's my favorite. She's amazing.
She looks like Jamie Lee Curtis. You know, like the Activia Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's the older one. She has the daughter, Sophia, and her husband's kind of a jerk.
Are there any kids?
Caught yourself there.
I'm not taking any chances. So, I mean, I think that's part of it. And to, you know, I guess something that I think is interesting is there's still the threat to the world is the same. You know, we don't see a huge difference because there isn't a lot of time change. Like, you'll want to look into that because we aren't that many. So it's 7 seasons.
Yeah.
But it's not that many years in their time. Like, it takes place almost not in real time because that's stupid, but you know, it's a much slower burn.
Yet last season they drove 2016 cars that had no stains on them whatsoever.
Oh, they're not too bad about that.
It takes place in 2011.
They do a lot of car promotions. They had like a deal with Toyota for a while, and they drive like new like Priuses. At
explosions
one point,
ain't gonna pay for themselves, kids.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. They're not too egregious, but you figure you can't do the Pepsi ad and something like that, you know, because there's no Pepsi anymore. Like, so they
there's
find
Pepsi there.
Oh yeah,
in the zombie
cans?
apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sorry. Pepsi
Well, they're all
would
looted.
survive.
They're all looted and gone. I'm not saying it wouldn't stand the test of time.
Yeah, they come back from the loot like, look what I found, guys. Delicious Pepsi.
They're good about that, though.
Great.
No, someone's favorite pop was like a very generic one. They're good about that. But
And
I mean,
some jerk says, I don't drink Pepsi, I drink Coke.
oh my God.
Code Red. Did you find any Code Red?
I'm saying it right now. Even in the apocalypse, I would not drink Pepsi if there was Coke around.
Really?
I hate Pepsi, and I was raised on it.
If that's all that was left, that's
Lane,
all that you would
just
be like, I'm
blew
sorry,
our
I'm
branding
done.
deal. With Pepsi.
Sorry, the Pepsi people are going to have to pass.
It's the choice of a new generation.
I want Coca-Cola because it tastes
Better?
so much better. Better is not even a strong enough word.
It tastes good.
Pepsi's terrible. I'm sorry.
All right, guys. So, where do you see the zombie genre going? And after that, after we do a round of that, I would like to hear a pitch from both of you.
Oh, crap. We were going to do a pitch.
On what kind of zombie movie that you would make with
I am
Hollywood
completely unprepared for pitching.
Oh my God. Me too. I forgot we were going to do it. And you even said it to me yesterday.
Suck.
You know, I think, I mean, we don't both like work full time or anything.
I work full time.
I know, but your brain never stops running. And I wish I had some of that, but I don't.
All right, well, I'll start
Thank God.
and give you guys a chance to look at the menu.
Fine. Hit me.
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep getting inundated by the same kind of thing until the point where we just completely overload, kind of like what we're seeing now with superhero movies. And then, not as a cop-out here, because I don't know what it will be, but there's going to be somebody that's going to come along. You know, we're going to get like 5 to 10 years of no zombies, you know, here and there. But there's going to be somebody that's going to come and change the game like Romero did it. Like I said, I don't know exactly what that'll be, but, you know, it's going to be 10 zombie TV shows, 20 zombie movies a year until we just like, I can't deal with any more zombies, even living in Pittsburgh. And then, you know, they'll go away, and then somebody's going to just change the game again. You know, in a way that, you know, Danny Boyle kind of did with 20 Days Later, even though he didn't want a zombie movie because he's an English snob.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but you know, if you look at the footage, you know, recording on mini DV, that's a very strong stylistic choice, and it gives it a really strong look. So, I mean, stylistically and visually, he did change things that way.
Viruses speeding up the zombies, you know, the infected, you know, yeah. So something like that will come along, I think, again here. Lane, stop making that noise.
What'd you say?
I said, Lane, stop making that noise.
Oh, no, that was a small child.
Oh, okay.
You know, the ones that you've been ignoring this whole time. Okay, all right. So then what is your pitch then, John?
Oh, hold on, Brian. Where do you see
Okay,
the genre going?
I honestly think we're reaching the point, similar to you, John, where we're going to have a period after Walking Dead ends where zombies are going to go away for a while. Just because it has reached a point of saturation, I think. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that there was a store literally down the street called, what was it called? The Zombie Store.
Was it just called the Zombie Store?
No, it was something of the dead.
Hold for editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with the place you're talking about.
There was a specific zombie store in Lawrenceville that...
There's one in the Monroeville Mall, too.
Right. Well, not anymore.
Well, there was.
Yeah, House of the Dead.
House of the Dead.
House of the Dead. Thank you, audience.
Thank you again, guys. You guys are bringing it strong.
But House of the Dead, you know, that store kind of came about because of the interest in zombies, because of Walking Dead and Shaun of the Dead and all these movies that came out. And unfortunately, it went belly up, you know? So I think we're reaching a point where we've gone past saturation. We're just starting to get into like, zombies are kind of played out. Now, where do I think they're going to revive? Honestly, I don't think it's with film. I think it is going to be with either video games, specifically with VR.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Because that's the next step, you know, is you know, the viewer ends up basically being in the zombie apocalypse themselves. That's the only jump I can think of logically that makes sense.
And two, I think those experiences would be really neat, you know, to take something like...
I imagine it would give a lot of people heart attacks.
Maybe. I mean, but even... Isn't the Hollywood Universal, like the one in California, don't they have like a Walking Dead attraction that you can walk through?
I think it's in Tokyo.
Oh, really?
I think.
They flew Chris Hardwick to Tokyo to check that shit out. That's insane. That guy has the best job ever.
They might have one in Hollywood, too. I'm not sure. They just don't have one in Florida.
Yeah, no, they don't have one in Florida, which is stupid. Okay, I just wondered, because, I mean, those kinds of immediate experiences, I mean, that'd be interesting. We certainly have them here seasonally, you know, where, you know, if that's a theme that the Scare House would do, or, you know, 100 Acres Mansion, or like something like that, you know?
I just think the future of zombie movies is not necessarily with movies. It is with experiences. You know,
Right,
you can
and virtual
do,
reality.
You can do virtual reality with your phone. So, I mean, if you think about it that way, that's the only thing is putting yourself in that particular environment. You know?
Right.
So, Lane, where do you think they're going?
Boy, I mean, I don't really have anything new or interesting to say. I mean, I think we're reaching a point of like critical mass where the show, you know, The Walking Dead's kind of the gold standard, and I don't think anyone's going to challenge that. And I mean, truly,
They
Walking
kind of
Dead.
challenge themselves with Fear of the Walking Dead.
It's true, but
It's
Walking
going to
Dead.
be like Law and Order.
Walking Dead could go on to like, 13 seasons. It's not unimaginable.
Ooh, it would be great. Law and Order, Walking Dead crossover, Walking Dead Special Victims Unit.
I'm sorry. Did I talk during your part? Did I talk about your
No, because
What?
you're not obnoxious like I am.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I don't have necessarily too much more to add. I agree with Brian. I think, the storylines will continue in the video game vein. I don't know for me if I'm seeing it take place in VR. I do see that it makes sense, but you can tell such wonderful stories in the video game format now that I think that that's part of, a very real, future to see. So,
Yeah.
So, and I have a pitch. I have a good idea for a zombie movie,
Okay.
for my zombie movie. I think it would be interesting to do kind of a, hi guys, to do sort of a zombies meets like Stranger Things kind of thing where where the survivors the only characters that we're with are young. And
Okay.
Maybe like preteen in that era. It could get Lord of the Flies pretty quick, but I think that'd be interesting to see the younger version where there's no like adults around to see how kids handle it. I think that would be at least something that we haven't seen before.
Give me a title. Think. Come on.
Zombie or things? I don't know. Just kidding.
Zombie or things?
Dead or things? I don't know. It's in early pre-production, early stages.
Working title: Little Kids and Zombies.
It's true. So you,
I'm pitching a pornography. Dawn of the Fred.
John, do you not hear the children?
There are
Are you
children
deaf in
literally
some
running
way?
right in front of us.
Are
is
you
that a
deaf
child?
in some
Oh.
way?
They don't know what that is. Anyway,
Reel it back.
No, my pitch would be, not to just troll, but it would be post a zombie apocalypse. So the movie would have very little to no zombies in it. We never really deal with what the repercussions of a new world is after that, especially if it's one where the entire system of the United States government has fallen. If we're talking, in North America, we're getting more treats. Apple fritters.
We were getting a secret note too.
Yeah.
I saw
Kettle corn.
there was a secret note over there on a blue Post-it about the best zombie movie ever, and now it's gone. I'm sad. It's coming back. It's coming back. I see it now. John, can you reach it?
where?
John, can you see it?
Can you see it?
Wild Zero, best zombie film ever.
Wild Zero?
Wild Zero. Is
Okay.
that? I've not heard of that.
Never heard of that one.
Is that blasphemy? Is that bad?
Lane?
Oh, I heard a groan.
I heard
Oh
a groan
man.
of disappointment.
Lane, look it up. Look it up while I'm doing my picture.
Done.
Okay.
All right, keep pitching.
But yeah,
I'm listening.
so and how we kind of create society, back from complete devastation, and there could still be some zombies that they're hunting or experimenting on or have caged, so there's a lot of things that you can comment after the fact. We see before and we see during, but we very, very rarely see what happens after the fact. So that's what I would focus on. A lot of people might not even call it a zombie movie because there aren't going to be many zombies in it, but that's the film that that I would pitch here. And of course, we cast
Okay.
Johnny Depp in it.
That's right.
No.
He's
John-
slowly turning
Johnny,
into a zombie
Johnny Depp
anyway.
is still on the list. He's still on the list.
Well, no,
Not a
he can
big fan.
smack around the female zombies.
Stop it.
Whoa.
Okay, so Wild Zero is a 1999 Japanese horror film.
Nice.
Okay.
And let me see. I think it's about a rock band. Is it about a rock band?
Ish. Okay.
Okay.
Rock
okay.
band-ish.
So it's about So I mean 1999 Japanese horror. Like I'm totally in. Like completely in. So we'll have to check that out, guys. It's not on our list, but we got to check it out.
Okay, so
All
so
right.
my pitch is pretty terrible because I was not prepared.
Brian, you don't want to come out the gate with that.
No,
Let us
I'm
decide
already
that.
coming out the gate
No,
with
tell
that.
everybody that it's terrible,
So-
even if it's good, and then everybody will be
So
surprised.
honestly, my pitch is I would make a feature-length version of the short film that I made. that was a zombie film.
I thought you said a not prepared pitch, not a shameless pitch.
No. Okay, isn't every pitch shameless though?
It's true.
Okay,
it's true.
Is someone else going to direct your zombie movie? No, you're going to do it.
I'm on it.
Okay, but the zombie film that I made, that John you were in grad school, dealt with the idea
zombie.
as a zombie. Well, you were the zombie, and you also were the radio announcer.
This is true.
It's true.
Okay.
Multi-talented, this one.
But the assignment was that we had to make a film in which we had environmental things in it.
Right.
Okay.
And that was a neat element to it, I thought.
That was a nice element. So I came up with this idea of a movie in which it's about a lone survivor in a basement, because at the time I was living in a basement.
Yeah, Brian, I'm not going to lie. That apartment wasn't great, but...
Really?
It must have...
Really?
Was your rent $10?
Oh, my God! I can't believe you just said that. It wasn't that bad.
Hey, I kind of liked it. It was very atmospheric, but...
It was the perfect place for every one of my films in grad school.
It's true.
It was a crap hole.
We're not saying that it was haunted.
Yeah. No, it wasn't haunted. It was haunted by a bad tenant.
No.
A bad landlord. But the idea behind this film was that it's about a lone survivor who is dealing with heartbreak because his girlfriend in the middle of the zombie apocalypse dies and gets eaten. And at the same time, he's got zombies on the outside. And you find out that the zombies are actually caused by hydraulic fracturing. Because, you know...
What a twist.
What a twist, exactly. Because no one knows what's in the water. So I would make a feature-length version of that.
I think they have an idea in Flint, Michigan. What's in the water?
Shameless plug. I like it. I like it. Good job. Nicely done.
And John, you could be a zombie again.
Yes. I know. I want that sweet voiceover work too.
But like, wouldn't you just give him something else, like more to do than just
No.
Oh, saying it now. I mean,
he's seen my acting. He knows better.
I get to produce this though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we're just like gonna go make your super wildly successful zombie film.
I will make him the hero zombie. Okay.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like he'll be like the Otis.
Okay.
Or in Fido.
I mean,
Fido.
John, you enjoy that pay of an
Bub
extra.
and Day of the Dead, which we skipped over. But yeah, so I think that I only do movies where I'm in the buff. So
I can arrange that.
Yeah.
Oh, John, didn't you see those kids come in again?
They don't know what that means.
I'm so exhausted.
They don't
with
know
you.
what that means.
You're so tiring. So tiring. So okay, so those are our pitches. Now, I feel like we all came to the table with a great zombie movie that maybe people haven't seen.
Yes.
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to.
So this is a book and a movie, and I read the book last year, I think, and it took not too long for the movie to get made. But it's called The Girl with All the Gifts, and it's kind of in that kid vein. Where are you looking it up? Because it's so good. It's so good. The book is actually phenomenal. I recommend the book so strongly. But it's about a girl, Melanie, who has been raised in very much a post-apocalyptic, easy for me to say, right? Post-apocalyptic society, and she and other children are in a facility where you realize they're not children. Something's horribly wrong. They're in a medical facility of some sort, and they have this teacher, Miss Justino, who kind of has. She's sort of like their everything teacher. They have like different teachers on different days, but they like the main character Melanie likes her the best, and she has like a lot of really advanced skills. She's more curious about the world than she is with her other fellow classmates and whatnot. But what happens is the like compound or fort or whatever you want to call it's attacked, and it just kind of like throws Melanie's world inside out. And I know we usually spoil stuff, and I don't want to spoil too much about this because seriously, I mean, especially if you guys like to read like I do, the book is fantastic.
Wait a minute,
I mean, I ripped through it in like 2 nights.
We're not spoiling stuff?
I'm not spoiling
that's not
this.
natural for us.
That's not
well,
natural.
neither of you guys have seen it, so I'm in charge. I don't want to spoil it because I really do want people to read the book. But they did a movie of it. Glenn Close was in it. I think she was the only real American actress, or at least
Glenn
real
Close
big
play
name.
a zombie?
She did not. She plays a scientist in it, but the movie was
Zombie
fantastic.
would be too close to her natural character.
She
the
tries
movie
to
was
kill
fantastic,
Dalmatians in it.
A-holes. The movie was fantastic. It was very faithful to the book. I felt like the book, obviously, as books tend to do, it was a little more rich. It had a little bit more to it, but it was very faithful. I thought the movie was great. I got it from the Red Box, actually, so they may still have it. I didn't get it that long ago either. But I feel like it's not anything anyone's really seen too much because it is British, and it's unless you're looking for it, you're not going to find it. But it was great. I mean, it's much more modern than, maybe you guys' suggestions. It's I think it came out 2015, 2016. It took a while to get over here, but it was fantastic.
John, what's your zombie movie?
So mine's an ironic choice here.
Imagine that.
Someday could end up on our pantheon of utter poopies.
See, you tried.
See, I
That's
tried
all
a
I
little
asked
bit.
is you tried.
And it's a movie that somehow no one remembers from 1993, My Boyfriend's Back.
Oh, my God. I love that
stop
movie.
It. That movie's so good.
That movie's awesome.
It's just, you started to see in the 90s that there's 10,000 movies where it's like, like 1 or 2 movies used to come out a month. Now there's 12. And this is one of those ones that just gets lost in the shuffle. Mostly because it's terrible. It has one zombie, a guy who's trying to win over a lady, gets shot. And because he wasn't supposed to die, then he comes back as a zombie to try to win her over.
Doesn't
It's
all his
super
parts,
feminist.
fall off too?
Super feminist.
What's that?
Doesn't all his parts fall off?
Oh, yeah,
and
when they
things?
get to the prom, he starts...
Awkward.
She's not the only thing he's falling for.
Oh, that was a really bad pun. I really liked it.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's, check it out if you can. It's very, very hard to find.
Yeah.
Is it?
Because I don't think the filmmakers even want anything to do with it.
Are they destroying copies like the Star Wars Holiday Special?
The trailer alone on YouTube will give you a sense of what this movie's all about. I think I saw the trailer for it when I went to see Hocus Pocus in the theater.
Oh, so
Awesome.
much street cred, this one.
Yeah, that movie's a piece of crap. Anyways.
So, my pick is it's one that I think a lot of people have seen, even if they maybe have heard of it. It is the quintessential classic Dead Alive, also known as Brain Dead. Okay,
Good one.
This
Good one.
movie is it's awesome because one, it's made by Peter Jackson, so this is way before Lord of the Rings, way before he was really famous for anything other than bad taste.
What was that? Yeah, was that weird puppet thing he did?
Yeah, that was the weird alien movie with
Super
the
weird.
pig people.
Super weird.
But yeah, Dead
The
Alive.
Frighteners? I've forgotten.
No, that was after.
Oh.
Yeah, Dead Alive came out in the, I think it was 89. And it is the story of Nigel, because it's made in New Zealand.
Right.
And basically, Nigel is a mama's boy who...
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but he's a mama's boy who's got this overbearing mother, and basically she gets infected by a rat monkey that bites her,
As you do.
as one does, because she's spying on Nigel, who goes out on a date with this shop girl who it has it in her head that he is the man of her dreams. Okay? And ultimately, she gets progressively worse. She dies and then comes back, bites people left and right. She bites the nurse. Nurse turns into a zombie. And then on top of that, they bury her. She comes back and starts killing everyone. So, you got the greaser punks that get killed. You've got the awesome priest who kicks ass for the Lord. I'm not actually
Yes.
joking. That actually is what he says.
So
Excellent.
This is the 180 from my film. It's just now the
Yeah.
woman is coming back. And
Yeah. So,
Yep.
but so you got the priest who dies, and you want to talk about your baby zombies. There is an awesome baby zombie in this film.
Was it practically done with a baby?
Yes, it was.
Ew, I was kidding. Is it not a puppet?
No, it's a puppet.
Okay.
It's
I
a
was gonna-
puppet, and it's also a little person too.
Oh, come on.
They did both. But it's just so ridiculously over the
Pussy
top. And the gore in it it's literally considered the goriest film of all time. There's a scene where Nigel has a lawnmower and just starts chopping up zombies.
Whoa.
And there's this goo going everywhere. It does have the one scene that
Do love good goo.
I can't watch.
What part of the body is goo?
Stop.
All parts.
Stop.
Okay, there is one scene where I can't watch it because it's just so gross.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me of all people.
I was going to say, I have a hard time believing that.
Okay, so imagine this setup. Nigel's mom has suddenly turned into a zombie. She starts falling apart, okay? And she has this garden party group called the WW Women's, like, it's like
the AAUW?
Yeah, something like that. It's like a women's group.
Yeah.
Okay.
The AAUW is a women's group.
Okay, but it's in New Zealand.
Oh,
okay.
That's a good point.
But the point is that the president of this group is coming by for lunch, and it's like it is her husband, and Nigel's mom. And Nigel's mom's falling apart.
Ew.
And they've got pudding, of all things.
No, okay,
yes,
I'm done.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good. I get it.
Let's just say that some of that goo gets squirted
Oh, look,
in the pudding.
some pudding is coming over
Yeah.
now as our treats.
Ew.
And I can't watch it because an ear falls into the pudding.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Great
got
movie,
it.
by the way.
I got it.
You should check it out.
Good one. Good
Yeah.
times.
Good times.
All right.
All right. So what is outside of, I'm going to eliminate Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. What is the best zombie movie? And I'm going to put this
best
on
zombie
you guys
movie?
so I'm going to check my list here real quick.
I'm going to say my favorite, Shaun of the Dead. Because it takes elements from everything that has come before, mashes them up successfully, adds humor, and still manages to maintain social commentary.
That's a tough one. That's really tough. Best zombie movie, not counting Night or Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he a stinker?
You are. I think I'm going to have to go with... Day.
Day of the
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Day of the Dead simply because it is the closest to Dawn and Night in quality.
Cheater.
Okay? No, that's not
Cheater.
cheating. You didn't say Day of the Dead.
He did not.
You are both wrong. It's Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's a zombie movie.
But it's
a zombie movie.
Not the
Really?
best movie of anything, though.
Oh, really? What
Please
is
tell me
this?
that's pudding.
Yeah, is that pudding with an ear in it? Wine, sausage, meat pie. What?
They fed us dinner here at Zeke's, you guys. This
Thank
is
you
unreal.
so much.
This is crazy.
This is unreal. You guys are so nice. This is awesome. Oh, man. This looks so good. I'm sorry. We got distracted
Plan
again by
9
food.
Really?
It's a zombie movie.
I mean, but it's not the best of anything.
How is it the best?
Best is not the word I would use.
Have you guys not had a great time watching Plan 9 from Outer Space?
I have, but it's a terrible movie. All of the enjoyment is ironic.
How dare you?
I mean, I'm sorry. It's ironic. I'm not a big fan.
I don't really have a good time watching Plan 9. It's like one of those movies that you just have to watch.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I like watching it, but it's just not the best of any kind of movie, much less
really
of a zombie
sit
movie.
down on a Sunday afternoon and say, "Oh, you know what? I really want to watch is Plan 9 from Outer Space."
Yeah, no, thank
Plan
you.
9 from Outer Space is the Plan 9 of Outer Space movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Deep.
What
You
happened?
went deep.
What happened to Plan 1 through 8?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You know what?
No.
The movie starts right where it needs to. Plan 1 through 8 didn't work out so well. We don't need to see that on film.
We don't.
Plan 9.
It's true.
That's
where it's
money's
at.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we talked for a really, really long time. I'm
really
really
did.
excited. It's like quarter
We
till.
really did.
And Zeke's gave us more food.
Yeah. So
I mean, I've had a good time.
I
This
had
was a
great
good
time.
discussion,
this was a great
guys.
venue. Did you guys all have a good time? Yeah.
Thank you for coming out.
We sure did, and John is so sexy. Thank you, guys. That clearly wasn't me.
But yeah, so I look forward to seeing, where the zombie genre goes. And I'm probably coming back to Zeke's like once a week for that maple spice latte.
We will now be doing the show exclusively from Zeke.
I mean,
I'm
they
gonna
keep feeding us. Why wouldn't
try
we?
really hard not to fall out of chairs.
Hey,
that chair was defective.
That
That's
chair was
nothing against you.
defective, but I'm just saying I'm going to try real hard
the
not to fall
universe
out of
is
chairs.
keeping you on your toes.
That's right.
Please go to urgent care tomorrow.
Or on your butt.
Yeah, or I might turn into a zombie. We don't know.
No. Irony.
So Lane, where can they find you on the Twitters?
You can find me on Twitter at LA_Croft.
John?
You can find me at the Unreal J Wolves and Brian at Tom Savini Fan 69.
Shut up.
The Unreal J Wolves is an actual Twitter handle.
It's actually his Twitter.
Seriously.
If you want to talk zombie movies or you just don't like me, Either way.
Or if you don't care for John
if you don't
personally,
care.
reach him for
Or
via
you
Twitter.
love me and you want some body pics, just let me know.
He'll do it.
DM me, baby.
You can find me at Brian Connington. I also run the Psycho Show Twitter. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw our way, or you want to talk about zombies with us, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. And make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Send us a rate. Send us a review. We love getting those. And catch our new episode available every Sunday.
They're
First
coming
Live.
to get you, Barbara. They're coming to get you,
Stop
Barbara.
it, you're being ignorant.
Look, there's one now.
Stop it. First live show.
Epicast.